Many of us spend our lives stuck in autopilot, just in these not conscious awareness patterns, where it's loops of overthinking, addiction, anxiety, or trauma responses. And that's because we're operating from our DMN, or our default mode network. So the default mode network is a part of your brain that's active when you're lost in thought, when you're in self-judgment, when you're rehashing the past. And in people with depression, PTSD, and addiction, their DMNs tend to be overactive, which just reinforces stuck patterns. Ibogaine, which is a psychedelic alkaloid from the Iboga plant, does something miraculous for this. It actually quiets the default mode network, and it floods the brain with a protein called GDNF, which stands for glial cell line derived neurotrophic factors. GDNF is basically like Miracle-Gro for your brain. It does a lot of amazing things for our dopamine system, repairs dopamine neurons, but also it really increases the brain's capacity to rewire itself, or neuroplasticity. I love the analogy that I heard from Michael Pollan about this. So if you imagine a snow-covered hill and like sleds going down the hill, the sleds create tracks. And the more you use those tracks, the deeper the ruts get. So these tracks are our unconscious habits, our junk food, our cigarettes, our addiction, our overthinking, our codependency. And the more that you take those tracks, the deeper the rut gets. What Ibogaine does, and this big flood of GDNF, is it's like a fresh snowfall on the hill. It just kind of resets everything. And then in addition, it also makes it easier to create new ruts and have them actually stick and be successful with them. Neuroplasticity is also so helpful for just making your brain like a sponge. You're a lot quicker to learn new things. So after Ibogaine, people talk about learning new instruments, learning new languages. Things are just making sense to them quicker. They feel more alert. They feel sharper. And it just, the most important thing is that it just makes it so much easier to quit those old habits that weren't serving them. So all of this to say is that Ibogaine does so much more than interrupting addiction. It actually just rewires your brain from the inside out and just supports you in your healing and, restoring the parts of you that want to live, grow, and choose differently for yourself. So Ibogaine, it's just so much more than a reset, but really just a return back to yourself.